Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us for the podcast again. I am super excited, delighted, just in awe because I get to meet with Joan of Angels again. Yay! I'm going to do a quick bio and then I'm going to let her talk more about what's been happening over the past year since we met last. So, Joan was trained as a doctor of chiropractic and had a busy practice in Berkeley, California. In addition, because she has an innate empathic gift, she trained and received a master's in counseling, giving her the tools that she needed to advise, counsel, uplift, and heal, and align your mind, body, and spirit. And her intuitively guided work focuses on personal transformation, and I can attest to this, offering her clients both the skills and the healing needed to live happier and healthier lives. And she is an oracle of ancient wisdom, a public speaker, a dedicated wing fluffer, a visionary artist, influencer, model, and actress. Joan of Angels will help you dive deeper into understanding of your life path and mission as you rewire your subconscious mind, release fear, and step into your true mastery and highest potential. And one of her greatest joys is sharing what she sees and knowing that this can help people find their way. So if you need help finding your way, Joan is here to do that. And I am so excited because Joan and I worked together. We worked through my grief, and she was the one that kind of helped me step onto this path that I'm on now. And so I know her talents, I know her abilities. And so welcome to the podcast.
Angela, I love being on your show, number one. But more important, I actually love watching your transformation and how you managed to turn your grief into not only a podcast, but like sharing your transformation, your growth with people around the world. I'm impressed. Oh, Angela means angel. Wait a minute. Of course. But that's what I see, and I'm honored to be on your show.
Yeah, well, thank you so much. And I'm going to link our interview from last year, and I will put it in the notes so that people can watch it. And we're just going to continue off from what we talked about then, and we're just going to keep going here. So, how has your life changed since you started traveling? And then you were just getting going with your art, like you were just blossoming into this vision that you're living now. So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I was living in the desert, and I had lived in the desert for 7 years. I was feeling very stuck, and I think some of your tribe can relate to that. I was just feeling 7 years in the desert is a long time. I always say that Christ had 7 weeks. Well, I needed 7 years to step into Joan of Angels, to really understand who I was. And my friend Neil came along from Portal to Ascension and literally offered me an opportunity to be the executive producer and travel around the world. And what has happened for me is that, and it's very, very interesting, is that my energy has changed. My vibrational energy has gone up. I've learned to connect with leaders all around the world. I really help, I think, I call it fluffing your wings. I really help fluff the wings of leaders around the world. And I'm in a transformational state. I can't explain it any better than that, except that I'm learning to step into my highest soul aspect, the highest version of myself, and bringing back all the pieces of my soul from just this lifetime and other lifetimes. And so it's been really transformative. And I'm still haven't come upon where I'm going to stop, because I keep feeling that I'll know when I know. And so I haven't known yet, but I feel like I'm getting closer to wanting more community with me more often. But then I get a call to go off, and it's kind of exciting to be free to be able to do that.
Mhm. Yeah.
However, there's also the challenges of being a digital nomad. It's, little harder than you think, but has its own unique upgrades. So yeah, my life is filled with change right now, and I meet a lot of people. I help a lot of people around the world now, and I am feeling very grateful for this transformation. And I think the key was I said yes to a new opportunity. And I think for everyone that is a key is when we say yes to what's being proposed by spirit for us.
Yeah. Yeah. And I remember meeting with you and you giving the clarity, that I kind of needed. It was like, yeah, inside I probably knew that this was what I was going to step into, but it was like your clarity. Maybe fluffing the feathers is a good way to put it. Just kind of giving that, yeah, Angela, this is what you're supposed to do. Yeah, it's like an affirmation. And a lot of what you said made a lot of sense to me. And so, yeah, I'm excited for people to learn more about you and what you do because I think
Yeah.
it's super helpful. Yeah.
I want to comment on that for a bit too, because a good session is when your consultant, your coach confirms what you've been thinking about without even being asked. And I think that's one of my gifts is that I intuitively know where you're going and what needs to be released, or things come out of my mouth that I have no idea how I know them, but they seem to be the right answer. And Angela, and I want to talk about this because I think it's important for people to hear. When we have trauma in our life and it's been disrupted like that, one of the best ways to heal is to turn around and serve others. And you started your summits and you just threw yourself into, oh my God, I have so much pain, I have to do something. But that's not uncommon. That trauma like that launches us into an entirely new direction that we would never have thought of. And yet that's your soul's purpose. And then we have to go back and go, well, oh my God, that horrible thing that so distressed me, there was another purpose to it, which was my stepping into my transformation. And that is what happens for many of us. We go through that and then we step into our greatest gifts. And that's why I just wanted to mention that this is real. It's important. People do heal, and they can if they open themselves up to the true purpose, they can grow from it in a big way and in a heartwarming way, because you help a lot of people now.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and you might not have been doing what you're doing if your trauma hadn't happened.
Oh,
And
definitely.
so there's many people now around the world who listen to you because who listen to you, and you just started doing what you did just to heal your own heart, and now it heals so many.
Mm.
I think that's what I'm trying to say, that it's this process of our humanness, and then we share and we grow from it.
Hmm.
I feel privileged to help people. I've been helping people, Angela, for 45 years as a chiropractor, as a coach, as an intuitive, as a wing fluffer, as someone who just helps you believe in yourself. I have a gift, and that gift is I help people believe they can do it, that they're here for a purpose, and that it's within reach.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So when people come to you and, I find a lot of people like this, they say, well, I haven't found my purpose. I don't know what my meaning in life is. And they're stuck in that space and just not being able to see it, not being able to see the direction that they need to go. So what do you say to those people?
So there's a trap here. And I have to find my purpose. I have to find my purpose. I have to find my purpose. It becomes a broken record.
Mm.
And I know, because up until the time I was 29, all I could think of was that I was probably going to die before 30 because I didn't know my purpose. So, and it's a trap, because honestly, our basic purpose is to be born here and remember why we're here. It's actually a process of starting to recall not only our past lives, but the memories of actually why we're here, what our purpose is, what skills we came down here with, what tools we have, and we learn how to master them and how to listen. I guess it's like a 10-point process, how to listen to the voice within or our guides, and then to activate it and do it. And so actually our true purpose is to, first of all, remember that we're here for a reason, as opposed to going, where's my life purpose? What is it? We say, okay, I know I'm here for a reason. And it will start to come to you, believe it or not. And then the second thing we're really all here to do, whether we know what we're supposed to do in our daily life or not, because your purpose is different than, say, your job. They're not the same thing. Your purpose is this overall meaning, and then there are ways you implement it. And one of the first things we need to learn to do is to hold our own space and to learn how to raise our light and to raise our vibration, because collectively, when we each raise our vibration, we raise the planet. It's like walking into a room and everyone's depressed. You're the bright light in the room, everyone's depressed. Do you turn off your light so everyone feels comfortable? Put a blanket over your energy so you can sink down to their level and walk home going, oh my God, I feel terrible. Or do you shine your light wherever you are? You don't have to know anything else except, okay, here I am. All those people are depressed. I'm just going to shine and shift their energy up. We have two choices. And most of the time we go into that depressed room and we come out depressed because we're not aware of the fact that we could just hold our light. And that's another major purpose we all have. And that, once you get that, the rest is easy. How you implement this is easy, and how you access your gifts is my specialty. I help you look at all these different soul aspects. Like I discovered in my travels, I was told by a good friend, Sheila Seppi from the Galactic Alliance. She told me, well, Joan, you are a walk-in. Because I said, well, am I a walk-in? Because I'm not the same person I was born, I said, I don't feel like I had an overnight shift here, like some people do when they walk in. And she said, Joan, you are 33 soul aspect walk-in. You had 33 traumas that caused you to shrink and kind of freak and lose your soul, give it away. And once you recover them all, you'll be higher than the fifth dimension. You'll step into your highest version of yourself. And now that's what I teach people these days, how you access, how you call back these pieces of your soul to yourself so that you can become whole once again. And some of those soul aspects have different memories, different roles, but we have many and we call them back. And then we can live the best versions of ourselves again and that's living your bliss.
Mm. So can you give an example of one aspect that you called back, just for people to get a sense of it?
Well, okay, well, as a child, I was traumatized by a very abusive father. And I hid in closets and I was extremely terrified. And to top it all off, so it's a blended experience here, I was very claustrophobic. I was very claustrophobic because at the age of 6 months, I was very creative at 6 months, okay? And I'm just going to tell you, I had a past life in a tribe where we loaded ourselves with clay all over our body to protect ourselves from the sun, right? And paint, right, with clay. So by 6 months old, I was using my feces to paint myself. Literally, I painted the crib, I painted myself. I really made beautiful markings and everything. And that was a no-no in this society. That was a no-no. No one knew it was past life. So what was my doctor's solution? Tie her up. And so they tied my hands and they tied my feet. And I could no longer express myself. I could no longer paint. I was painting. That was the only thing I had in the crib to paint with. And I could no longer express myself. I went into a deep depression, even as a little girl, and I became extremely, extremely claustrophobic. And this has been with me for most of my life. And even when I go live in performances for a long time, I had to talk myself into it's safe to go live on camera. It's safe to be seen. And so that was one of the things that I've had to pull back and pull into the present so I can free myself to be seen, which is huge, huge, huge. It's huge for everyone.
Mhm.
So free myself to be seen and to acknowledge the beauty and power that I have and my creativity. So releasing my creativity in the last few years again with my art has actually freed that little girl who was tied up as a child.
Mm. Wow. Yeah. So I think that gives people, a clearer picture of what it's like to call something back.
It's
And
freedom,
yeah, yeah, yeah. And to reclaim.
unpinning our soul,
Mhm.
but freeing it, coming back to it, and then pulling all these pieces in relationships, in sexual relationships, we give away pieces of our soul. And so we have to clear those. We have to give back the energy to the other person, whether they're here or in another dimension, and clear our own energies always. And so it's a great process. It's a great tool.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. And
So what I do in the art, I create these soul essence portraits. And I have a new service too that I can do coaching with it, 6 weeks of coaching. So you actually understand all this. But I channel, I don't know, it could be 10, 20 different soul aspects of yourself, past life, this life, future lives, this planet, other planets. I mean, interdimensional, intergalactic, inter timelines. And I'll put them together. I curate a whole bunch of images. I put them together into a video. And I sit down with you on Zoom and I show you all these different soul aspects. And then we pick one that most represents, most calls to you so that you can look at it every day and never forget your true power, your true soul meaning and why you're really here. It's very powerful. I have some videos on my YouTube channel under the art, I think is where I put them.
okay, yeah. So we'll put a link to that so people can look. And that's what I feel like, just reclaiming our power and understanding how powerful we truly are and how we create. Like I'm still learning, and I think maybe will until I die because it's like there's so much to comprehend about our power and what we are able to do. There's so much to learn.
There is so much to learn. Last weekend, I'm up here in Sedona now, which I love Sedona, very transformational and very high consciousness people. I went to a group called LightNet, and they are teaching you how to use your mind. They're doing training programs, not just for spoon bending with your mind, but teleportation,
Mm,
remote viewing. Well, that's nothing compared to even teleportation or turning something like water into wine, because we know that the monks did this. The Tibetan monks used to do this regularly in their monasteries in the Middle Ages. They could actually turn water into wine, flour into loaves of bread, and they could teleport. They could actually raise themselves up off the ground. And there are people today that teleport. Is
mm,
that teleportation? When you lift yourself up? And then there's that one where you can bring things to you. I'm sure that these are two different words, but you understand what I'm talking about. Using your mind, developing your mind to become a superpower, a super person, to become like your ninja self, your super skills that you actually came here with. We should be able to walk through walls. We did once. I
yeah,
think we had a little glitch.
we did.
I think it was the subject I was talking about because I ended up by saying, well, we'll know that we're really advanced if I could find myself teleported right into your studio and we sit live on your couch doing an interview. That's how I'll know.
Oh, that's funny. Okay, well, oh, all right. Well, So how do we start? Because we want to get to this guidance, and you talked about it a little bit at the beginning about how we can get access to our guides and use that as helping us. And I've been able to over time build a relationship with my guides and start to get messages. So how do you help people start communicating with their guides?
Well, that's a simple process. First of all, we look at how committed are you? Just how committed are you? Because we could say we want to connect, but we're not committed to doing the work of connection. Second thing we look at is, have you asked your guides to connect with you? Have you talked to them about the ways that you might recognize that connection? So sometimes they'll communicate with us by sounds or by music or by, for me, communicate by trucks. Okay. I need help, and I'll see a truck that goes by me that's like Miracle Earwax or something, or Angel Maids. Happens all the time. Or I'll pass a street that says Miracle Lane. So my guides are always communicating with me. They'll put a coin on the ground right there for me to pick up, and it's a message for me that my dad is there. I will get triple digit numbers a lot, very frequently, which is also a reminder that we're not alone. So they're communicating to us easily with things around us. So the first step is to really pay attention to what we call the signs, the shamanic signs, that you actually have guidance with you and that they're there. And then we have to pay attention. The third step is to actually pay attention to the whispering that you may hear. So we know that they don't come in and, well, I have to preface this. My guides sometimes have been very loud. Like they said, Joan, go to chiropractic school. I heard that as someone talking to me, go to chiropractic school. Most of the time, I don't hear it like that. I have a sense or a knowing. It's just like a sense or a knowing. And if I can pay attention to that sense or knowing, that and verbalize it, say, then my reading is great because I'm in the right room, I'm in the right spot, and I've opened up my guidance. So often these messages, guys, come in a very subtle way as a whisper. And you go, oh, that couldn't possibly be it. Well, that's it. And so then there's the courage of stating what you hear. Like, I just heard the craziest thing. They said that I should not put my taxes in the trunk, which is something they told me years ago. I just heard the craziest thing. And then even when they tried to explain to me the trunk would open, I didn't believe it. And so I lost all my tax returns. But they're always giving us messages. And there we are, not listening. And so learning to trust your gut is something I can teach people. I can teach you how to pay attention to your intuition, how to trust it, how to trust that voice within, because I've learned to trust this voice because it has saved my life. And we're in dangerous times out in the world today. So learning to trust your gut is actually really important now. And so the key is to stop long enough and to hear that whisper and go, well, maybe Joan's right. This whisper is crazy, but I'll tell you anyway. Or follow it anyway. So there's that. There's other ways that are even easier. So I have a deck of cards sitting here. So often in the morning, I'll wake up and have a cup of tea and I'll pull a card. I say, well, what's my message for the day? What do I need to do to be in complete alignment with my life? And so I just pulled a card that says, all the willows know your name. And isn't that interesting? You're not alone. We are all recognized by source as a signature, an energy signature, and we're not alone. And so that was a direct message for all of us. All the willows, all these trees know who you are. All these energies know who you are. We're not invisible. We have a frequency tone or register, or and we are being watched over and protected. It is an interesting universe we live in.
Mm-hmm.
And you can tell that by the way synchronicities happen, or magic somehow happens, or someone reaches out to you from the past that you've been thinking about for days. And you wonder how that happens, as if it's orchestrated by grand design. And it is.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And it feels to me like it comes in spurts sometimes. You get a lot of messages and then it's almost quiet. Now, is that them letting you do your thing, or is that you not listening enough?
So when I first started painting angels, they came to me and said, paint 33 angels in 30 days. And I had a lot of trouble saying yes, but I ultimately did. But then I would say, what do I do with this? What do I do with 33 paintings? And they said nothing. I heard nothing, nothing, nothing. But I had a sense, though, that I wouldn't hear anything until I completed the mission.
Mm.
First step. So they test us. Are you willing to go the first mile and do it? And so what I discovered is that when I completed it, and then I said, what shall I do with it? I heard something. But they need to see that we are going to step up to do what we have been called to do. If you're not going to listen, why would they continue? There's thousands or millions of people who will say yes. Like in 2020, I went through a dark time for a few months in the summer because I just thought, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. What am I supposed to do with this? And then I heard them talking to me, and it was very clear. Joan, you accepted this role of Joan of Angels, and you accepted the things that you're supposed to do. You're supposed to help people remember who they are. Just a few things, Joan. It's not a lot. But if you're not willing to do it, don't worry about it. There's millions of people. We called a lot of them. Don't worry, they'll come forward. And that's true. So to be one of these chosen ones who's living your bliss and on your path, you have to say yes. It's as simple as that. Yes, I'm ready. Yes, I agree. Yes. Yes. I don't know, even if it doesn't look like it, even if it just doesn't look right to you, there's times. And so I had a psychic years ago tell me that he said, Joan, you were supposed to be famous, but you blew it. I did know it. He was right, because I didn't say yes when the times came. I mean, they'll always come back around down later, maybe. That's what he said. He said, well, it will happen, but not at all like what would have had you said yes at the time. So all of the way our path goes has to do with our ability to trust what we're hearing and move forward. You can't go back. It's another timeline. I can energetically shift that timeline to the one I'm on now, but no, you can't go back. What you can do though is go forward and shift where you are now and begin to listen and to start trusting. You can go back and look and go, oh, that was a turning point and I didn't take it. You can identify times in your life where you ran away in fear, or maybe you got involved in a relationship to distract yourself from what you were really supposed to do. And then you spent years in pain and being abused as opposed to shining your light, which is what I had done. So I just went off the path. I was on an amazingly productive path, changed my life. And then the next 10 years, I had to deal with stuff that had nothing to do with shining my light and helping everyone and doing the work that I had done. So I think these are times in every person's life where you're called upon to make a choice. And you get to choose, am I ready now?
Yeah, and I always think about everything as a learning opportunity. We are handed these challenges, and like you say, sometimes we don't we don't want to accept anything that's being brought forward, and so we kind of close those doors. But I always think, no matter what we do, whatever choice we make, there is learning in that. There is purpose in that. No matter what.
Oh yeah, there is, because there's alternate timelines. There's you as a super, the creative or whatever, but then there's the lesser timelines, or the ones we create ourselves, probably. But I'm finding that the more I listen, then the more attuned my life becomes.
Right.
and the more harmonious it becomes. And that's what I'm looking for.
Right. And you certainly know when you're off track because you're not following your joy.
Yeah, you're not following your joy, and you're sort of doing a lot of things to cover up your uneasiness. And that's where you might get into drugs or drinking or, you know, other addictions because you're so uncomfortable in your body. So not listening to something that you heard was truth, but you're not ready to deal with it, causes this uncomfortableness and then causes stuck energy. Then you go down the road of anxiety, depression, moodiness, etc., all because you didn't want to pay attention to that little nagging voice over here.
Yeah.
Yes, it's one of our human dilemmas. We have free will. You
Right.
know, this is why we have free will.
Right. So do you still have challenges
Oh,
to you?
every day. Angela, I don't mean to have anyone think that I have a trouble-free, challenge-free life.
Mhm.
I still deal with my own traumas. For instance, I'm trying to really work through my trauma of driving. Something happened a few years ago. You know how you automatically, without thinking, get in your car, you enter the stream of consciousness, you enter the stream of traffic, which is kind of like the flow of consciousness, and you do your thing, turn here, and you get off. It doesn't happen like that for me anymore. And I'm out of a flow when it comes to driving. And so it's been very traumatic for me. I've had to really learn new ways, and I'm really doing new things to deal with my trauma. And this is an interesting thing. I'm staying with Maureen St. Germain. Some of you probably know her. She's a big ascension teacher. She's amazing. And I was talking to her the other day, and I said, well, I get a little uneasy about driving. I have this, can't stand heights, and it terrifies me. And then I said, I forget what she said, but then I said, but my mother had that too. And then she goes, aha, because my mom died when I was 37. And she looked at me and she says, Joan, it's really possible that your mom really never went that far. And she's with you, and you have now all of her fears. And you have been operating not as Joan, but as a sort of combination of Joan and her mother. And often the mother takes over, and I haven't even known it. So
Mm.
since I got here, I've been releasing my mother with, a lot of love, because she died when I was 37. It's a long time ago. So releasing her and clearing those energies. But yeah, I have work to do. We all have work to do. It's a 3D working planet,
Mhm. Yeah.
and we all have our work to do, and it's never ending. You don't hit nirvana and then not have to deal with doing the dishes.
Yeah, and I think there can be an expectation that at some point you'll just reach this place where you'll just always be happy and they're just, you know,
Right. Right. And happiness itself is an inside job. The
mhm.
universe can't make you happy. It's an inside job. And so our work is, no matter what your challenges are, to clear them, own them, clear them, let them go, because you can't take them to heaven, and then move forward. So cut the past and move forward. And so we're all working at different levels, different speeds, but we're all heading in a higher vibrational shift so that we can all ascend.
Yeah, very cool. Very cool. So tell people, how's it best to contact you?
I'd like to say they could teleport over here, but we haven't mastered that yet. But guys, everything I do is under Joan of Angels. So Facebook, Joan of Angels, Instagram, Joan of Angels, my website, www.joanofangels, YouTube is Joan of Angels. So everything, and Telegram, Joan of Angels. So that's easy. So you can just find me at Joan of Angels. You could email me, joan@joanofangels.com. And I have all sorts of wonderful sessions we could do. I love private work with people because we make a lot of difference. We can make a lot of change for you. And I have some classes that I've been teaching. I have, what else? And I have my art that's really been new the last year on the website. I've dived into using art as a way to raise your vibrational frequency, align your body and soul, and help restore or bring back to you all your soul aspects.
Whoa. Sorry, Joe. Just having a coughing fit now. Yikes.
It happens to the best of us. Or it could be something I said. We never know.
Something's coming up. I've got some allergies, so I think those are creeping me right now.
I have a good allergy remedy. You know, I'm a chiropractor. Everything I do is how to heal your body from the inside out.
Okay.
And this one I know really works because I put my son on it and he is not a believer in anything his mother does, except occasionally. So apple cider vinegar, 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. Now, don't use Bragg's anymore because Bragg's was sold to a Katy Perry and Bill Gates companies. So you can't trust that it's organic anymore. But apple cider vinegar, 2 tablespoons in warm water or hot water as a tea. You can put in ginger, lemon, and honey. In fact, you should put in ginger, lemon, and honey. Drink it first thing in the morning and last thing at night. And I bet you'll be texting me and telling me, oh my God, Joan, it works. So you don't have to use allergy medication. And it really does work because it lowers your pH and it detoxifies you and it boosts your immune system all at once. So I hope you test that.
I will test that.
And anyone out there, this is Joan's allergy / sinus, one of my sinus remedies too. And I always like to get testimonials that it works.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Well, do you have any final advice, comment?
That's so funny. It makes me feel like my final last will and testament.
Oh, geez.
So I have advice for all of you guys. I want you to understand something. Actually, I'm asking my guides what they want you to understand, not what I want you to understand. You're at the most perfect place right now to know that you're on your path. You shouldn't worry, am I off my path? Am I on your path? You're at the right place. There's millions of people in front of us, millions of people behind us, millions of people on either side. And we're just here to walk our own path. And so if you can start listening to the little inner promptings that you get, the ones that are encouraging you, the ones that are giving you information that you might think are crazy, and start to write them down, you'll see that there's a pattern. And when you realize you're not alone and that there's a pattern to your life, it gives you a sense of power and a sense of knowingness. So it's all about learning how to trust who you are, that you're here for a very big reason. And when I say you're here to remember and carry the light, that's no small thing, because that's how we lift up the planet. If you see planet Earth, Gaia as a beautiful orchestra, and then you look and go, oh my God, so many of those, and we're all the instrument, you'll see so many of us are out of tune. Like it's a sad orchestra right now because many people are out of tune. So Mother Earth can't be her most beautiful self. So if each of us takes responsibility to tune ourselves up so that the song we sing is in tune with our soul, which resonates with the earth soul, then it'll lift up more people around you to sing their song, to get into tune again. And that's how we shift the planet. The more of us that shift our frequency into our harmonious spot, place, tone, the higher we'll go and the better you'll feel. So it's not just about you feeling better. It's about when you feel better, you actually positively help the rest of us. And that's the message I want to leave you with. And that if you have difficulties in doing this, or if you want to be clearer on your path, or clearer on how you can hear, or clearer on how do I bring back these soul fragments of myself and restore my harmony here and live my best life, then you reach out to me, because that's my specialty. That's what I'd love to do best. I'm a master at that. I know that. That's my gift.
Beautiful, beautiful. So thank you again for taking the time. And I want to thank everyone for listening. And bye for now.